Hello, hello. I want to talk about a story that a friend of mine in Germany told me when we were about 19 years old. She and her sister and I, we were 19 years old at that time, punks. And Connie and Drea, they had a mohawk, and we always hung out together. And Connie and Drea, they were fraternal twins, and I hope they're doing well. I wish them the very best. I miss them. I haven't seen them in a long time. Anyway, they told me about their sister Adelheid, and their sister was about 10 years older than we were, and she was married. She was actually married to a butcher guy, a guy who had grown up in a butcher family, and in Germany the conditions are better than in the United States, but still horrible, absolutely horrible. And then the halal and kosher is even more horrible. So I'm not going to get into this now, but anyway, I'm talking about butchering or animal enslavement, exploitation in general now, applying to all animals who are being held in cages, abhorrent conditions. Um, the worse the political system is, the worse are the conditions for the animals. So, and even in the very civilized Germany, with lots of governmental regulations and animal rights laws in place, not as much as I would like it, but they have more animal rights laws than most countries on the planet, because a lot of caring people have taken on politics and have gotten involved and who have changed the laws. Okay, and it's those people who make the world better who are hated the most. By the way, they're bedeviled and demonized the most. So just food for thought right now. So anyway, this butcher guy, he grew up in this slaughter family, and that's what they were doing as a profession. And he's been working there for like his whole life. It's been since childhood, even, I don't know, over 20 years, maybe 30 years. And he was married to this Adelheid, very sensitive, very very delicate woman. They told me that story. So one night, he lost it. Um, One night he woke up and Adelheid was sleeping next to him in bed. And for some reason, he didn't see her or something. She was right next to him, sleeping peacefully. It was like in the middle of the night, 2 or 3 o'clock. And he wakes up and he doesn't see her, and he goes out in his pajamas onto the street, and he starts looking for her all over the place and thinking that she has run away. And so they finally had to lock him up for his own safety. And what this story tells me is that, and I've heard about other cases where people have lost it over. I have talked to a lot of people who have told me that they have worked in slaughter facilities, also people in Australia and from all over the world. And a lot of those people were actually talking to me from a psychiatric place where they were staying, either a locked facility or a halfway house where they were living with assistant living, like they could not be taking care of themselves anymore. They were completely 5150, as they call it, totally dysfunctional, can't feed themselves, can't wash themselves, and so on. So they need to live with a nurse or a, a staff of psychiatrists and psychiatric nurses and caregivers and so on. It's very tragic. Okay, so this is what I've been observing. A lot of this, and then the ones that are not locked up, they may be sort of functioning on autopilot. When I talk to them, there's nothing but hostility and darkness coming out of these people. That is, they're consumed with dark negativity. They are drawn to Satanist cults. They're drawn to also really like fundamentalist Christian religions and or Muslim religion, or they're drawn to things like ISIS. They are they just they gravitate towards cults that are doing destruction and horror and sadistic things. So, and I've seen this over and over and over and over again on the internet, and I want to point this out to people. Pay attention to this. This is very important. And I talked to a kid who was involved in Newfoundland with the slaughtering of baby seals, clubbing of baby seals that are nursing babies, right? And I talked to him for a long time. He first trolled me, and I blocked him several times. He came back with different accounts. Obviously, he kept coming back to talk to me. So I finally saw that he was trying to make an attempt to sort of reach out. And the only way he could even reach out to me was by insulting me and by mocking me. But there was something in him that told him, some kind of inner voice, maybe very faint inner voice that told him, well, I guess she's onto something. I guess maybe this sounds right somehow. Maybe this love message. Maybe that's the better way to do it. The only reason why I could even reach him is because he was 15 years old. He hadn't completely sealed himself into an armor yet, so he was still open enough to hear my message. There was still a little gap where my message could get through to him. And so he finally, he came back with another YouTube channel and his name written backwards. And so he revealed himself and he said, I am the same guy, Hakapik. So I hope he's doing well. I hope he has left his family. I hope he has left this ground of horror that he was growing up in. But he started to reveal things to me, and I said to him, did your dad say to you, you better start butchering the baby seals or I will not respect you as a man? And he said yes, that's what he did. And I asked other people this, and it is the case around the whole globe. This is the situation around the whole globe, with not just redneck people, but with Muslims, with people in Africa, with people in Russia, also in China. Don't think that China is free from oppression just because it's free from religion. It has another ideology that it is forcing on people. It's just another form of forcing things on people and keeping people oppressed and so on. And they're very superstitious too. So it's just a facade of not being religious, but they have a lot of religion and cultism stuff going on anyway, so that doesn't seem to be able to go away. It is a psychological mechanism that draws people to that because they feel completely clueless. They don't know what to do. So they have to reach to someone, whether it is a religious guru or philosopher or cult leader or whatever. So, or any kind of superstition, and superstition isn't being tuned in, tapped in. That's it's the opposite. A lot of people, they mix that up. It has nothing to do with it. Religion also has nothing to do with being interconnected. It doesn't have anything really to do with metaphysics either. So it's a misconception of people. They think that religion is the same as metaphysics. So it is absolutely not. And this butchering and this lifestyle of seeing their parents butcher animals, or their friends or family members or hunters in the Midwest shooting animals and telling their sons they need to shoot or they will not be respected as a male. Those kind of things, going on. People who grow up like this, they are being their minds are demolished by that lifestyle. It's a complete annihilation of their inner child. It's it's the complete destruction, demolition of the inner child that is innocent and that just wants to be there and wants to look in the sky and be in awe and feel that oneness with life around him or her. But the parents make sure to step on that and kill that inner child, that creativity, that is tuned in to everything that is. They want to kill all of that. They want to kill everyone who comes into their life, who crosses their path and says something in that manner of creativity and love and connectivity to all beings. They are terrified of it because their inner voice says, this is danger. This is where I cannot go. I have to flee into being mean so that they cannot hurt me. You see how this works? This is a mechanism. They have to flee into badass, mean, tough. If I am evil, then they cannot do evil things to me. It's that kind of reasoning that is happening with that person growing up. And the people in the sheep industry in New Zealand. And all of these people are also highly nationalistic. They cling to, they feel like they have nothing. They are nothing without that nation, without that identity of my nation, my group, my religion. They feel like they are lost without it. They're completely, they feel like they are nobody without it. And this is a complete misconception. It's a lie. And it is something that had been drilled into people. It is a mechanism of thinking that had been drilled into people. Okay? So when they encounter someone like in philosophy groups, which I like to go to because I like to talk about philosophy as someone who is searching herself, right? And I like to hear what other people have to say. So I often come across very severe hater people and then it turns out to my absolute shock every time, again and again and again, that they once were actually really innocent children. They once were, and in some cases I can see a glimpse of that child that's still inside of these people, that looks out cautiously. Oh, is there someone really who is not going to laugh about me, who's not going to make fun of me, who I can trust, who I can share something with? That is how these kids have been demolished. They are so afraid to, and in Germany it's real serious, and the men particularly in Germany, it's this it's less the brutal monster, type of thing that's going here. It's not so much that, but it's this. In Germany, the men, they want to be this rational. We are rational thinkers. And, it's the same mechanism. It's this hiding behind this facade that that they that they think of as giving them the protection from the emotional hurt. So the ego will always be on the lookout for emotional hurt or ridicule. Will always be on the lookout, as Teal Swan pointed out very, very, very precisely. It's always on the lookout for what if this person brings me back to my childhood. What if this person, and that's also why they all want nothing to do with psychoanalysis or with, they call it hippie shit, because they're terrified of it. They're terrified of going back to the childhood and looking at it for what it really is, looking at themselves, looking at their inner child, the innocence that had been demolished. They don't want to hear anything about it. They don't want this vulnerability. They want to stay as far away from that as possible. But it's exactly the opposite. The more you run away from it, the more you resist this vulnerability, the more you're going to be running into a situation where you're going to be confronted. As Jiddu Krishnamurti said, life is not going to leave them alone. Okay? You can say, leave me alone to everyone with your gesture and your body posture. But life will never leave you alone. There will always be another hippie lady or hippie person or shaman or whatever will come across your path, or kind of whatever situation, that will bring it up again, that will roll it up again. So it is better to look at it and face it and confront yourself with it instead of running away. So very, very important. These people overreact in a very dramatic way to anyone who suggests to them to look at it, to look at themselves, to introspect. Okay? You don't have to be afraid to introspect. Introspection is the door to complete mental freedom. Okay? I'm inviting you all to do this. We need to make the world a better place. Help us and don't shy away anymore from going within. Nothing can happen to you now. Okay? I promise to you. Take care. Peace.